You're listening to NGSC Sports Radio. Hear us live on ngscsports.com, where you can get awesome analysis for all things sport. Or check out our podcasts on iHeartRadio, Spreaker, iTunes, TuneIn, and much more. For our latest videos, head to NGSC Sports YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at NGSC Sports and like us on Facebook. NGSC Sports. We never stop.
This is the Happy Hour Network.
Pay attention, son. This is for your own good.
This is Ben Yamkadane.
And Tom Reed.
Of the Believe the Hype NBA podcast.
And you're tuned into the Earnestly Speaking podcast, the show that takes more contested shots than J.R. Smith.
The Earnestly Speaking podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
Yeah, Earnestly Speaking podcast. Let's get it. I'm a giant in New York, in Miami carry heat. So much more in store, my product can flood the street. Opinion Nation Godfather, CEO. Puff in the late 90s, gon' see me blow. Oh. Got my hustle on, no imitation of that. Army of untouchables, Opinion Nation staff. Never an off season, homie, check the numbers. Heart throbbing my own right, supplying southern comfort. Earnestly speaking, my ego is well fed. Earnestly speaking, you're too feeble and no threat. See, I'm like a hurricane, you're a mild breeze. Earnestly speaking, leaving Eli a dynasty. Shake!
All right, welcome to the Earnestly Speaking podcast. I'm your host, Ernest E.J. Christian. Once again, find this podcast, of course, at iTunes, Stitcher Radio, of course, syndicated on ngscsports.com. The Happy Hour Network, as well as our new syndicate, Arena Sports Network. I am really excited about this podcast today. Really am, because this is a good friend of mine who's been on this podcast many times, but it's been a long time. Eddie, I think it's been, almost 3 years.
I was thinking about that today, probably around that time. I remember I was living, it was like at the end of 2013,
12, something
12, yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember the show we did. We do a lot of show. Like, I remember the show we did when Jason Collins came out, and that was in 2012.
Yeah, I wrote an article for you too.
Yeah, you wrote.
That was about the right time.
Yeah, that old site I used to run back in the day.
I hope those articles are still online. I was actually proud of some of this stuff.
Yeah, it's still online. Yeah, I still got it. Yeah.
And my favorite position is still the kicker.
Dude, you won't let that go. I think you and Rich Eisen both have that. Locked up, actually. I think Rich Eisen.
Yeah?
Yeah, he loves kickers. Yeah, he does.
Does he? I know he has a shirt that he was selling on his website, maybe for charity, but it said punters are people too.
Yeah, kickers and punters are people too. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, so it's true.
So, yeah. So how you been, Eddie, man? It's been a long time. I mean, you and we're good friends. We talk all the time as much as possible, but
yeah, man.
Haven't been on the podcast so long, man. What's been on with you the last couple of years?
I've been it's been busy, man. I moved back to Pennsylvania.
Right.
Where I live in Pittsburgh again. I lived here for just a brief amount of time. I grew up in Altoona, but it's 100 miles northeast of here. But I moved back here. I left Florida. Started again.
Do you regret it?
No, not really, to be honest with you. I know why I moved here, and I'm glad to just keep moving ahead with my plans. So.
Yeah, speaking of plans, and I think you and I had discussed this once on one of the last pods we did together. You were working on a book.
Started it yeah.
And I don't know what's going on. I remember you had started a type of GoFundMe thing for a while, and then you did a couple of trips to Africa. Basically, the book's about heavy metal in Africa. And
rock and heavy metal in Africa, yeah.
Right, and you're you and I both, big music guys, big metal guys. You're very passionate about the genre, especially, and you've gone to Africa quite a few times the last few years, anything bands and stuff. Tell me about all that, man.
Yeah, my book's called Heavy Metal Africa: Life, Passion, and Heavy Metal in the Forgotten Continent. I hope it's should be out by spring
next year,
2016. Yeah,
okay.
It's my target goal. I wanted it out spring of this year, but I still had another trip in me. So I wanted to do it, and it's just about the history of rock and metal in Africa and the lives of the musicians playing this music today and what they go through. and it's also a part travel narrative. It's me telling you the story of a continent that's misunderstood, and I share some good insights in there and some little shenanigans.
What is the obsession with Africa though? 'Cause I mean, you go to college here, you're like, you had a thing for Africa. What is it?
I just have always been attracted to that continent. I realized I didn't know much about it. I was probably about 13, 14 years ago. I wanted to do something different besides the life I was leading. And I was just working in restaurants, working in kitchens. And then I wanted to go to college, and I went back to college, and I found a passion for Africa. It's right around the time I met you. Actually, it was right in in Boca Raton days.
2003, right?
Yeah, you were living where, in Pompano Beach, Florida?
No, I was at 03. What was I at 03?
You were in West Palm, man.
I was in Palm Beach. I know. I moved back to Palm Beach, actually, after the Lauderdale.
I wasn't far away from you in Lake Worth, but I was working in Deerfield Beach.
Right, and we met through a mutual friend.
Yeah, but I was working at a bookshop, and I was just completely obsessed with Africa, right? I was getting all these books in and whatnot, and that's what I did. I don't know. I just wanted to learn a lot more about that place, and it just became more than just reading a few books about it. It became a degree. It became a master's degree in African studies, and since 2007, I think there's only been 2 years where I have not gone to Africa. I've gone, but I kind of stay in the same region, Southern Africa, but that was always the most fascinating part of Africa for me. But there's always unexplored corners in Africa that I want to keep going to. And the obsession with the book started because of my obsession with the music as a lifelong metal fan.
Yeah.
I wanted to cover two passions, but there was not much being said or written about it in the metal press, in the mainstream metal press. Right. And then I started this research and started the book, and now there's a lot more being said about it. And I'd like to take a lot of responsibility for that. And if anyone calls me out on that, I would challenge them to that. Because I've gotten some great press internationally. I've been interviewed by some newspapers. I've relayed some stuff to other media outlets.
Very good.
And I wrote an article for The Guardian. I've spoken since I started. I got to speak at two academic conferences, and the university academic scene is growing greatly on this matter. So that's been good for me too.
Right. Well, Africa's obviously fascinating in itself. People go there, travel there for a reason they travel there for. But the fact that you are hooking heavy metal to it, I think, is another surprise, and I think people like saying, "Well, heavy metal Africa? What the hell are you talking about?" I think even for me as a metal fan, I think it's very fascinating.
It's partially the unexpected music from the unexpected place. But I didn't know much about it, and I've even surprised myself on this trip. I thought that there was just pockets of bands here and there. I didn't realize the scope of it. But that's part of what it is, As much as I learned about Africa sitting in classrooms and writing academic essays about it, there's still a hell of a lot more you're going to learn about it when you're on the ground and once you actually experience the places for yourself. And it's only expanded my curiosity. I have to keep going back now. Like, I realize this is my life, so I'm going to maybe even do a second book, go up north in Africa and West Africa. Some places I have yet to explore.
How do you discover bands in that region, though? Like, is internet? Do you just...
Yeah, it starts very slowly. Once I got the wheels moving, though, first I heard about it through a conversation I had with some guy in Cape Town, South Africa in 2007, then again in 2009. And then I found like two people I started talking to that I knew were in bands in South Africa.
Right.
Which led to more, which led to more, which led to more.
Connections. That's how it works, networking.
It's a snowball effect. But once, and then you hear about bands in other countries. So when I planned the trips, I was like, well, I'm going to go sit down and meet these few people here. But I had enough time. In 2012, I did 6 weeks in South Africa and Botswana that I was able to just discover more. And once you're on the ground, you realize it's larger than what it actually is. So,
is there a big scene there?
Yeah, big time. South Africa, big time. It's very connected to the Western world, South Africa. So a lot of acts are playing there too, international acts. Like we were sharing a little today through a text message about 36 Crazy Fists, and I saw them while I was just there. They played at a festival there. Thanks again to Wayne for granting me entrance to that festival so I can meet local bands. But that was headlined by a band called Monuments from the UK, and then 36 Crazy Fists. But yeah, so many bands. Metallica's played there twice. Maiden's coming up there. Big bands like Linkin Park, Bring Me the Horizon, 30 Seconds to Mars. What other like Trivium? There's an extreme metal festival there that I'm quite fond of, called Witch Fest. Next year they have Behemoth at the Gates, Misery Index, The Ocean. There's so many great bands that have played there. Corpse and Cannibal Corpse and Hatebreed and Cataclysm, Epica. They all played there last year. So that's happening in South Africa. Botswana's got a nice scene too, but international bands kind of just miss all those other countries, you know.
Right. No, I guess listeners on the podcast who probably ask themselves, well, what's the passion about heavy metal? What exactly is it about heavy metal that you love that made you want to not just be a fan, but also go this route of actually like tying in Africa, the motherland, and heavy metal, one of the most still one of the genres that either you love it or you hate it. It's not really.
It's a heavily stigmatized genre. You're absolutely right. What is it about? I don't know. I ask the same question everyone I meet. This is kind of neat having the question turned on me. I'll just comment to my passion for the music. It's the only music that made sense to me. The only music that spoke to me. I didn't grow up with I didn't grow up in a very wealthy circumstance. A single mother was raising me. And I felt that I saw life a different way. I always felt that there was a chip on my shoulder. Maybe that may have been part of it, but that's the only music that was able to connect to me. When I heard those musicians, I felt that those songs were being written for me. Right. And I like the sound of it too. I mean, the aesthetics of metal is beautiful. The sound
it really is. It really is.
The sound of the distorted guitar, the vocal stylings, I really enjoy, and then everything else behind it, the pulsating, the bass, the extreme drumming. But then you play it or you learn that it takes years of mastery to be able to perfect it, to play music to this caliber, you know. But that's just what it is, and it just became something else. Like I do listen to other forms of music, but 98% of my record collection, which is expansive and massive.
Oh yeah, I know. I can tell. Yeah. I mean, I remember I met you back in 2003, man. I remember, and I have to credit you for this too, because and I've always liked rock music and metal, or whatever. But I think you were the first guy that truly expanded my horizon in terms of other bands. Like there was more stuff out there to gravitate to that that you can that weren't as popular or mainstream that you can definitely tie your allegiance to.
Yeah, of course.
You got me into 36 Crazy Fists 12 years ago. Like the Bloodline records. Was it Bloodline? Oh no, was that record? Bloodwork, right?
That's the second record.
That record's incredible.
Snow-Capped Romance.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes.
Yeah, that's a beautiful record.
Yeah, I mean, so you were. I will give you a lot of credit for at the very least expanding my my love for heavy metal even more. Because there's a lot of bands that I probably would have not gotten into if it wasn't for you. Even though and at that point I did have an expansive collection, but it wasn't nowhere in the ballpark as yours.
Yeah, no, it's grown like threefold, fourfold since then. But I keep adding to it. Obviously, I like collecting records. I still buy CDs. And
I was going to ask you that because we had a discussion about 5 to 8 years ago, and I had stopped buying CDs because the convenience factor, number one, and plus I was moving a lot every 2 years, so having a CD case in my hand all the time while I'm trying to move stuff it gets kind of annoying.
Yeah, the thing is if it's a band I already have a CD from, I'm just going to keep buying CDs. Like now I'm starting vinyl, so I'm starting fresh with bands and just buying vinyl for some, and then I started digital purchases for just certain bands. But like vinyl. Devil You Know is that band I just told you about, Howard Jones' new band. Mm-hmm. That's like my new digital only thing. You know?
That's Howard Jones' new band?
Yeah.
See, I gotta be honest with you, bro, and this is because a lot of it has to do with the fact that I'm now working in sports media and I'm doing a lot more extra stuff. I'm a dad, I'm a husband, I got so much other things going on in my life. It's harder now, and you and I both, way back, we were always clued in on everything that was going on in the genre. Like every little thing, from even the smallest of bands, we would know what was going on in the news, and Blabbermouth always helped with that, of course. Blabbermouth.net, of course. And now it's hard to follow everything, you know what I mean? And it's harder. I miss that. I miss those days when I used to, come home from work and sit on the computer and see, okay, what band's doing this now? What's the latest news on this record? And that was me. I was at that point at one point too.
Yeah, that's funny. That's like an article that circulated in the metal blogs about as we get to a certain age, we stop discovering new bands and we'll only buy records. Like if we're lifelong like Metallica fans, we'll only buy a record when Metallica puts out a new record, or Slayer, or like Iron Maiden, those classic bands. Yeah, I don't know. That's not true for me because I'm always on the look for new bands, and I still go to a lot of shows. But I think it has to do with the fact that I'm not married and have no children. Right. But I can understand why.
Right.
You see, you get my friend Tim. He just takes his son now to metal shows with him, and his son just absolutely loves it. It's something that they can share together now because his son's discovering new bands on his own, showing him with his dad. And then my friend, when we're with his son, we tell him about these old bands. Like we're going to go see Anthrax and Lamb of God on this upcoming tour. But like, yeah, that's just that thing that we have. Now it's that thing he has with his son. It's a brand new connection. It's wonderful, you know.
And that's something I plan on doing with my son too as he gets older. Like I play Metallica now. I mean, I played Metallica once he was like 2 months old.
Oh yeah,
and jam to it. I mean, that's not a problem for me. By the way, yeah, vinyl. I'm a vinyl dude also. The thing with me in vinyl though, I only collect vinyl for specific artists and bands I love.
Yeah, that's what a lot of vinyl collectors have been telling me the same thing. I'm not just going to go spend like $25, $30 on a vinyl for a band that I just want to check out. It's going to be, I may even buy the record twice if I fall in love with it, you know, but I'd buy the Maiden records on vinyl, Metallica, Megadeth. I'd consider buying those on vinyl. I'll probably buy the new Megadeth on vinyl, actually. Mm-hmm. Yo, that's going to be a ripping record.
It's like album 14, right? For them? 14th
15, maybe.
Oh, wow. Jeez.
Yeah, because he did 13, and he did Super Collider, and then this will be 15 with Chris Adler.
You got to give Mustaine credit, man. Mustaine just keeps chugging and chugging, man. I mean, obviously it's harder for people to continue following this band as long as they have, but, you know,
yeah,
he's still chugging, man.
In a fairly consistent career.
Yeah, and
fairly. I'm gonna say the world needs a hero and Risk are two blemishes, but I mean others would argue otherwise. But
I actually like Risk.
I don't know. You like Saint Anger too.
Well, no. Well, you know what's funny?
You do every time I was in your car for a while. That was all you were listening to.
I was. You know what it was with Saint Anger though? They were really good songs, but the quality of the songs, like the actual sound quality, was horrific. And it was fucking bad. It was terrible. Like the drumming.
The audio quality, of course. But when that record came out, what did I say? If it had another band name on the front of the record, this would actually be a damn good record.
Right.
But because we had heard Master Puppets and Ride the Lightning from the same band, we're like, huh?
Standards are higher when you Metallica, of course.
Yeah.
By the way, and back now, I was a bit of a fanboy, man. Come on.
I still look. I respect them greatly, and I'll buy the next record, and hope to see them. And I like Death Magnetic. I don't care what anyone says.
I love that record. I think that's like my second or third best favorite record of theirs. To be honest with you,
it's a great record. It's got good songs.
Well, at the end of the day, it's all you really want is good songs.
That's it.
You know. A couple of bands I've been listening to. I was in California a couple of days ago. I just got back like 2 days ago, and
oh, cool. I was there 2 weeks ago too.
Oh, nice. My wife's cousin, her husband and I are really tight. And he's a big metalhead too, but he is in other bands that I don't typically listen to all the time. So I want to ask you a question about a couple of bands.
Go ahead.
Are you a Bleeding Through fan?
Yeah, I like Bleeding Through a lot. I miss them.
Yeah. I'm older now. I'm 35. But 10 years ago when I was playing in Sense of Being, my band, back then, it was, I'll admit, I was a bit immature when it came to these kind of things. Like, oh, well, this band is not metal enough, so screw them. That whole maturity level of, either you're this way or you're not, or you're with us or against us, that kind of whole attitude of metal. And I get the protectiveness of the genre and other genres coming in, trying to do their thing and trying to be a little different. But a lot of people who are strict like Pantera fans that get offended by a band like Bullet for My Valentine, I'm out of that thing now. But I was once upon a time there.
Yeah, for sure.
And now I feel like, okay, well, I'm older now and I can appreciate anything. I don't care. Like, I can appreciate Coldplay now. Come on. I mean, seriously.
Okay. If you like the songs, you like the songs.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's about the songs. Right? But it's funny, like, I get frustrated now. Like, I get frustrated myself now, how I used to be back then. Like, the whole thing, and this is where I agree with you about metal and what you said about, like, the reason why you like it so much. Because it's the same thing with me, and even as African American, you know, that was the only, while I love a lot of, you know, I love a lot of music and a lot of genres. But metal was the one genre of even more than hip hop, even more than pop music, and whatever you want to call it. Metal was the only genre that actually spoke to me in terms of the lyrics, and it gave you a home. Okay, you know,
yeah,
you're an outsider, come on down. The problem is that once you get inside that home, even the people within the genre get kind of protective to the point where they're also alienating others. You know, it's like, okay, you want, like, I get the fact that, you know, you want to protect your own, but then you're also doing the same thing that you get mad at others for doing. In other words, you know, I'm not accepted by others, so fuck it, I'm going to be on the metal side and this and that. And then when other people actually want to join you, you're like, no, fuck you, this is us. So in essence, you're doing the same fucking thing that that you were trying to avoid before the first time. And I think that's why I'm frustrated with the metal fans today, is that a lot of them are so stuck in a box. And that's one thing I have to credit you for, is that you've always been a little more open to the idea of like other bands outside of, even within the metal genre.
Yeah, because metal fans are kind of elitist.
Yeah,
right?
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
And the worst part is that they don't even know it. That's the worst part. It's like they don't even know how bad they are.
Yeah, some. I don't. Yeah, I think some do. They just, I don't know. It's not elitism thing, or they're looking for a level of validity before they include you into that. But
right.
I don't. At this point, I just don't give a shit. If you want to question my metalness, go ahead.
No, but
I'll run. You know, but that's
right.
how some fans are when they approach you now, and I'll run circles around you. I know I will, but I don't care about that. I want good music, and
yeah.
I think to be honest with you, these trips to Africa have really just allowed me to see that, because I've rediscovered the passion I had for this music in the first place through these kids, and well, they're not kids, but through these people that I'm meeting in these other corners of the world and places I never even thought I'd ever go to, you know. And they're explaining to you why this music means so much to them and why it matters. And they're introducing you to bands and you're listening to them and like, oh, this isn't bad. But they say, yeah, listen to this lyric here in this song. And you're like, oh, now you're all of a sudden reconnecting with something. Or you're listening to bands outside of your realm, like metalcore is the genre I've come to like to an extent because of these guys I've been meeting in Africa. But yeah, I don't think I would have liked it 5 years ago, right?
Right. Like, you can like Pantera and still appreciate, I don't know. What's a band under the same genre, but it's kind of an outsider? Being Through Against one of those bands. I don't know.
Yeah.
As I Dying, you know.
As I Dying, Devil Wears Prada, I think is a band that a lot of old school metalheads look at and say, "This is kids rock." You know, we're bringing you the Horizon, Alice in Alexandria.
But you got to start somewhere, though. You got to start somewhere.
Yeah, those are call them gateway bands.
Yeah, I mean, you got to start somewhere. I mean, let the kids live. I mean, there is a lot of elitism in heavy metal, especially with the fan base, and even some of the bands play on that shit. Like, I love Machine Head, love them, but Rob Flynn sometimes can be an asshole.
Yeah,
like he's like, oh, if you don't sound like Machine Head, then you're a fucking poser. I'm like, really?
I don't know. I love Machine Head though.
But he's part of the problem though, in a way he describes, you know. Well, if you don't sound this way, then the other way is wrong, and you're a douchebag for doing that. Like, really? Look, I can spot out ingenuine, you know, I can spot out posers. I can spot out, you know, bands that are just doing it for the sake of doing it, you know, not without the passion. But there are a lot of bands who genuinely are trying to do it the right way. It may sound a little bit different, but they're trying to do it the right way. I mean, who are we to judge them?
Right.
And I'm over that shit now, man. I'm over that the whole like the straight metal crowd. Whoa, you're not metal enough. So shut the fuck up. Seriously.
Maybe that's what bands like Iron Maiden are good at doing, or maybe Metallica now. They're able to bring in a lot of varying groups of people in there because Metallica had that crossover appeal.
Metallica endorsed that actually. It actually endorsed openness. Remember that. And I mean, I don't think they're doing it anymore. Remember, they had two festivals they did a couple of years ago, Orion festivals. One was in I think Michigan, one was in I think California, I believe. It was their own like festival,
Yeah, they need to do another one.
It was a great idea, man. I mean,
preferably in Pittsburgh.
That'd be awesome. I fly there in a heartbeat to go see there. But what they did is that they had a bunch of like different stages and different genres and all this stuff. It was really cool. Like they really embraced the idea of opening up this whole thing. A lot of bands are still stuck in this whole like thing where it was either our way or the highway. I'm like, get out of here with that, man. Seriously.
It's been now, see, like Metallica, trendsetter. It's been followed. I mean, Ozfest was sort of like this, but that was a traveling festival. And now Slipknot's doing one with Nodfest. And
speaking of Ozfest, why did that stop?
I don't know, but I remember you and I went to like 6 or 7 of those. And
I went to 2 or 3.
Yeah, we went to 2 together, and we had a blast, dude.
Yeah, man, that was a lot of fun.
With the Killswitch, Mastodon, Isolate, Dying, Soilwork, Arch Enemy, The Haunted, side stage. I think In Flames was on the main stage, maybe Mudvayne.
Yeah.
Dude, we had a blast at those.
And here's my question. It was a profitable tour, right? I mean, it had to have been.
As far as I know. The last one they did was free, remember?
I heard about that. I didn't...
Heavily, it was paid for by the sponsors.
That's kind of my problem with music today, now, is that, that's how music is the priority of music in this country is dead. Is that, at least in the 80s and 90s, there were a lot of festivals. And even though it was dying in the 2000s, you still had the one touring festival like Ozfest to depend on. Lollapalooza was still decent until the mid-2000s, But for a while, you still had festivals to depend on, and you were able to see that band, these 2-3 bands you like on a bill that you could see, and you make plans to go see them over the summer. That shit's gone now. I mean, now Ozfest was at one point was relegated to one place for the year. I mean, I don't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I can see how that appeals because you get everyone together. If you give them enough notice, people will make it out there, but. I think maybe there's the lack of a proper headliner, or the headliners, the bands that are at that level of headlining, they're just busy. Last year, like Mayhem had Slayer headlining, but come on, let's be honest, Slayer's not a headliner. Slipknot was a great headliner, but Slipknot did their own tour that summer.
Yeah.
And I went to that, and it was awesome. I didn't go to see Mayhem.
Mayhem is that still going? Is that still...
No, that's done. They announced last year that was the end of it, because, of course, they just couldn't fill in the seats.
Well, because the headliners, have their own tours. Like, Slipknot's a band that can demand its own tour and pull as many people as they would on a
Slipknot drew double, triple what they were.
Yeah, that's yeah. I mean, I don't know. Slipknot, and they're one of those bands too. Also, that a lot of older, like whinier, like elitist people say, "Oh, okay, I'm done with Slipknot," but they put out good quality records too. Seriously, one with Corey Taylor. Corey Taylor's a really good artist. He's a really good singer, very good frontman. And they're still keeping that genre, mainstreamish alive. So,
I think so, and I'm glad that they're able to do that. To be honest, we shouldn't look down on their success. We should be happy for them.
That's what I'm saying. But
they're only going to pull it up higher. This year's been a great year for metal. Even a band I don't like Five Finger Death Punch or Disturbed, I respect them for what they've been able to do, and the fact that they're putting metal records at number 1, number 2 on the charts. And when they tour, they're going to bring in bands. I hope that they tour with bands that are maybe new to expose a newer audience to newer bands.
Speaking of Disturbed, though, I like their first 2 records.
Oh yeah, you do, huh?
Love the first record. I mean, it's a really good mainstream metal record. The first album.
Oh yeah, that's
with the Shout and Down with Sickness and all that. Yeah, that record. That's a good mainstream. That's a very good mainstream record. Metal record to bring in people that may not listen to your genre, but it's catchy enough, and the people who may have not listened to metal before will get hooked, and maybe they come in and they're good. It's a good record. It's a nice, safe metal record. That's why I've always respected Disturbed what they've done. Now, granted, to me, they're a little corny now. The whole David Draymond thing, the whole like godlike thing, it's kind of annoying, but I've always respected what they've done because they've at least on their part, they've kept it real for the most part.
Yeah, they have.
Let's talk some Pittsburgh sports, man. That's your other passion.
Sure, yeah.
We actually went a half an hour talking about music. I'm glad because like every podcast I've done pretty much all sports and maybe 5 minutes of like other topics, and I'm kind of burnt out a little bit on that. So I'm actually glad I got out of my system a little bit. No,
it's cool. I'm glad to have conversations like that.
Absolutely, man. I guess before I get to the Steelers, let's talk about the Pirates, man. I mean, I don't know if people appreciate what's going on with the Pittsburgh Pirates these last 3-4 years, but I feel like people have still forgotten the last 18 years prior to these last couple playoff appearances. How good is it to be back, at least in the conversation of at least going to a World Series, at least in the conversation of being in the playoffs and whatnot? How great is it for that city now?
It was good. I do get critical of Pittsburgh sports fans because I say we are a very fair weather city, and I know outside of Pittsburgh right now, all the haters would be laughing hysterically at that because it's true. But I'm glad that we are. We had World Series expectations this year, but last year we ran into the Madison Bumgarner train. This year we ran into the Jake Arrieta train head first too. But I don't know. It's that one game playoff. We couldn't win the division. If we won the division, we could host. We were 3 games. We fell 3 games behind the Cardinals. But if we can't beat the Cardinals, we thought we were going to have it because those 2 national television games we had on consecutive days on Fox Saturday night and on Sunday Night Baseball, and both games we came back late to win. And we scored in that Sunday Night Baseball game against the Cardinals in the bottom of the 10th. We were down 3 runs, and we scored 4 runs with 2 outs. And that was like, this is the Pirates. This is how good we are this season. We're awesome. We're going to go to the World Series. No. So it's just, I don't know. We have to win the division, but it's great. It is great. And we're validating our franchise now. We're making serious moves. We have serious MVP contenders. We have Cy Young conversations with Garrett Cole. We have Silver Slugger names coming up, and they're all Pirates. Like these names coming up, they're Pirates. And against McCutcheon had a great another season, and perhaps we can have another MVP season. And we had Jung Ho came up from South Korea. I think he's going to be a future MVP. Josh Harrison's always going to be an MVP candidate. Dregu Polanco's in the mix. Sterling Marte. We have a serious squad here, man. We just got to we need another big ace. So
yeah.
And I thought this season maybe we could go after Price or Cole Hamels.
You guys had the worst luck this year though, because you guys are so you can argue the 3 best teams all of baseball were all in that division.
We did have. That's right, and that's the irony of it is that finally we did this right. And no, just like even with the Steelers, all of a sudden now that the Ravens became a Super Bowl team, and now the Bengals for the last few seasons have been a hot team. Wait a second,
what the hell happened here?
But the thing is, the Pirates haven't been playing mediocre baseball; they've been playing excellent baseball. We had the 2nd best record in baseball last season, but we still didn't even win the division because of the Cardinals.
Damn Cardinals.
I know.
They won't go away, will they? This won't go away.
Dude, what? We won. We beat the Mets from the world. They won the National League. We played them. The 6 games we played them, we swept.
Yeah.
So we were. I mean, that's one of those things. All the other teams that we played that were in the playoffs, running deep, we crushed in the regular season.
I told you in August that you were the one team that actually got feared the most.
Yeah, and had we played the Cardinals in a best-of-5 series or best-of-7 series instead of a 1-game series, sure, they could have won Game 1, but that's all they would have won. And they know that. I think the Cubs they knew that, too. Those fans were hanging on to that. All my friends who were Cubs fans said, yeah, it was Arrieta, 1 game, 1 start, and that's it. It's like, yeah, that's the only time you had to get us. But
I sort of sense cocky Pittsburgh fan again now because,
well, I'm happy about it, but we were so deep. That's why I was really proud of this team more than I was the last 2 seasons team. These marked the first winning teams we've had in 20 years.
Of course.
But I was prouder of this team because of just how deep we were, and when we had big injuries like Josh Harrison in the middle of the season, we still won. We had guys coming in off the bench and they were making exceptional plays. And that's what a great team does, is they play together. And they were having so much fun. You could tell in the dugout that they were just locked into each other. The trade deadline, we didn't sacrifice anyone to get anyone big in here. We made some minor changes, but we did it. And that's why we were so proud of this team. That's why I felt this team was the best Pittsburgh Pirates teams we've had since 1979, which won the World Series. Better than the Killer Bees teams of the 90s that went all the way to the the NLCS to that last game against the Braves. One more out and we would have gone to the World Series type. I think these teams are much better, and fans
They're better balanced teams.
Yeah, and I think fans who are old enough to remember those teams, was Jim Leyland teams with Doug Drabeck and Bob Walk and Jose Lean and Bonds and Bonilla and Jay Bell and Van Slyke and Spanky. I think we like this team a hell of a lot more. The guys are a little more charismatic, and there's still a mystery to some of the guys, just the way that they're playing is something else. And we won 98 games this season. I think next year we're going to win 100 if we address that pitching gap.
And that's why I hate the one-game playoff.
I've been torn about that. Yeah, see, that's all started since the last time we've chatted. You don't like it as much as I do.
No, I think it should be either 3 games or 5. Well, 3 games might be a little extreme because, the traveling schedule, 1 game here, travel, 1 game.
No, here's the preposition I had was leave it at 162. You could just the very next day, the day after the last day of the regular season, barring a play-in game to get to that 1-game playoff, start that game. The team that would host the game. Would host a 3-game set, best of 3, no travel day. You host all 3 games if it goes to 3 games. Period. You won the right to host those 3 games, and you don't have to sacrifice anything. Then you can, if the team wins the 2 games, they can have 2 days off. If they win that 3rd game, if they have to go to 3 games, they have that travel day or they have that game off, and then they go and do whatever they need to do. But that's just the way that regular season baseball would be played, knowing though it's in the postseason. So, in our example, we would have had that 1 game against the Cubs. The next 2 nights would have, or the next night, whatever. If Chicago would have won it, then they would have won it. But that's just how it is.
See, I'm against the idea of adding more teams to the playoffs, though. You know why? Because it takes away the idea of the pennant. The reason why baseball is so great is that
it's because that pennant, yeah.
To me, people say September. I think August is part of it too.
I think the true playoff run, yeah, absolutely. And you would just be playing teams that don't even have a shot. But I think the teams that are in the pits that have a losing record, they know that, and they still try to play to win those games. That's what I love about that.
They play for jobs. That's why they play for jobs.
Well, they play for jobs, but they know it because they maybe have been on one end of it too. If they've been a journeyman player or whatnot, they know that their job is to win that game. But it's just that realignment thing. I'm still, and the irony of this is that division in our division, we lost Houston. You get that?
Yep.
That would have been how one of those teams would have not have made the playoffs. And Houston, who had now has they're in the picture of next year for looking at, they're going to go deep. They can win the division and go deep.
The American League's wide open, man. Outside KC, the American League is wide open.
No, KC's phenomenal. And you know what I like about KC is that we watched that team suffer, just like as Pirates fans. They went 17 years without having a winning season, had one with Tony Pena, and then they went 6 years again in the hole. And that's what I love how they just did this. This is an organic team. This is a drafted team, a farm team. This is what they've done. Good for them. I was very happy to see them win. And I know that you're a big Mets fan, but you have to admit that was fantastic baseball.
Absolutely. That series could have gone either way.
And I know, and the way that, especially the way that guy just decided just to take home right there with 2 outs.
It's funny. I feel like that series was decided game 1. As much as, even though the Mets were always in the series, always in it, I feel like game 1 really. I thought when they lost that game, when Familia gave that home run in the 9th inning with 1 out.
Yeah, and
I felt like that was the series there because I feel like from that point on, this confidence that Mets have been built since that trade deadline, all the way through August, through September, into the playoffs.
God, these were on fire.
It felt seeped. It felt like it's lost it. And I know they won Game 3 and they won in a blowout fashion, and Game 2 was, Game 2 was a blowout. Obviously, they lost, and then I know they're in these series, but I feel like that there was always this confidence that was just gone. Even had 2-run leads, in Game 4 and Game 5. You never felt safe. I didn't feel safe when they had those leads. I was like, no, this is far from over.
I know. I couldn't stop watching because I said, yeah, they're gonna say, well, Matt Harvey's gonna go into the 9th and he's got a 2-run lead. I was like, yeah, but it's not gonna happen. I just felt that it wasn't gonna happen. I had to see it happen before it happens. Don't give yourselves Game 6 do you actually get out of this game?
I'm not that mad they lost the series, though. I'm not that mad because KC was the better team. I mean, I said it before the season started. Like, I didn't want to play Kansas City. I'd rather play Toronto.
I know, and it's easy to ignore a Midwest, mid-market team when you're living in New York. But that game one, that very first pitch, you saw exactly how good they were. They were going to do that. And they were just going to hustle and run. And they played small ball. Yeah, it's easy to forget that they even had a team there. But look what they just did. And I could see them again in the World Series next year.
I mean, look at the American League. Who's in the American League to challenge them right now, really? You have the Royals. I guess the Yankees will hang around. I mean, they're going to hang around, but they're not good enough to do anything. Really.
Who knows? And they're aging, too, though. The Royals aren't aging. I see, like, the Rangers and the Astros, they played the Astros played inspirational baseball. The Blue Jays are going to make big market team moves again.
Right.
And I don't know if those are usually the teams that don't win.
Right. I don't see.
I guess the Yankees did that, but that's something else.
I don't see Toronto as a sustainable team, to be honest with you.
No, they were in it to win it this season.
Yeah.
But whatever. So
I don't know. This is actually one of the better seasons. I'm not saying because the Mets were involved in into the final two, but this was one of the better seasons of baseball I think I've watched in a long time.
Yeah, it was a fun season to watch. I missed a few weeks of it going into Africa, but I still got online every day and checked that out. You know?
Yeah, the Pirates are fun to watch. I think the Pirates are definitely a team to watch next year. Make a run.
We'll be there. We'll be around.
Yeah, but I was telling you a while ago, like, you know, I've been sensing with you now on social media. Cocky Pittsburgh fan now, because all of a sudden I put up a post about on my power rankings, and you know, obviously I let the Steelers out this week, which I actually almost put in there, but because of the bed injury, I'm not sure, because he's not playing on Sunday. That's what I'm hearing. He's not playing on Sunday.
Yeah.
And the bed injury is a big deal. I don't care who you are. Big Ben is a top 4 quarterback in the league. You know.
You think? Cool. Huh? I don't even think that, but okay.
Yeah. Of course he's top 4 in the league. You disagree with me?
No, I'm not. I would never think of him as being that elite. I don't know, but I guess I see the numbers and I see why. I guess maybe you watch him from in here and you look at other quarterbacks and you always say, well, it's Brady, it's still Manning, and yeah.
Wait. Peyton's done.
He's still having some great seasons. Aaron Rodgers is a great quarterback.
What's about right now?
Yeah. But I think the Steelers need to look beyond Big Ben here. Sure, I mean this season is showing them a lot.
No.
In terms of like drafting your looking at a draft and look at a quarterback that you should draft to build for the future. We need to start doing that now.
I don't know who
we haven't addressed that issue.
I would say this. This is what I will say. You got a point there. I wouldn't say look at the Steelers and Ben as in terms of replacing him.
No, he has 3 more seasons yet as our starter.
Actually,
but the way that they groomed Aaron Rodgers behind Favre, but I don't even see the Patriots are even doing that behind Brady. Like you need to, right? Because obviously the Colts were looking at Luck while Peyton Manning was still on their roster.
But the way the league is now, though, you can play till you're 40.
Yeah. Offensive lines are getting better.
That said, though,
obviously been bad.
The only problem with that statement is made there. The only problem with that statement that just made right there is that your quarterback ain't like everybody else. Like he likes contact. He does.
He likes to get likes to get out of the pot. He's not, for being a guy who is not a running quarterback. He likes to scramble around too much. Don't you think?
I called him the Dwayne Wade of quarterbacks because he likes contact and the kamikaze style, and to a fault because now that might have shortened his career. But if Big Ben was more of a strictly pocket guy and not having to run running and getting contact, I would say he played till 41, 42 years old without a problem and it'd still be pretty good.
It's like Brady. I could see Brady playing another 2-3 seasons
easily.
He could. You know what? Yeah, he can win another one too. Much as I hate to say that, it's true though. I don't like the Pats, but you have to respect them. They're brilliant.
I mean, I know you're not big on these like rankings and things like that, but
I like your rankings.
Not as teams. It's all time. Tom Brady. I mean. At this point, he's got to be the greatest of all time. Got to be.
I was talking to someone. I'm not going to tell you who it is, but he played on the Steelers' 70s team. He was one of the players. He won a Super Bowl here in Pittsburgh, and he just happens to live in the area I live in, and I see him a lot at the.
Who is it?
I'd rather not.
Okay.
But he was an offensive player, and we had these conversations because Steelers wasn't the only team he ever played for, but we had this conversation because he doesn't really like talking about football.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because that was actually like if you know what he did with his life, which is why I'm not going to talk to you about because it was he actually started to work within the government, but he. Football was just a small part of his life. Everything else now has been a bigger part of his life. But he says he likes watching Tom Brady. Now he knows that Steelers fans would absolutely hate him. But he said you don't realize when you watch him as a football player, someone who used to play in an offensive system at this professional level, just how good Tom Brady is. I said, well, how good is he? And he said he's, I guess, just the greatest quarterback that ever played football. Period.
When you get that kind of like, and then obviously I don't know who the name is. When you get that kind of like endorsement from somebody who actually played the game at a high level.
There's a few. In the town I live in, it's a fairly affluent area of Pittsburgh, but there's guys that played college football. Here's a few professional guys that come around or that used to play because they'll go visit their old college buddies here.
Right.
But Tom Brady gets so many accolades. The whole cheating thing, that's for the fans. The real athletes, they're probably just smug because they know they used to probably do things like that. They probably did far worse. You know what I mean?
Let me ask you about that. Did you Deflategate big deal to you?
No, not at all.
We never discussed that at all, even off the record.
Yeah, but it's irrelevant. Like, I don't see the point of it. I think come on, for real.
Yeah, and that's how I felt too. Not only that, but with the correct footballs the last 6 quarters, the second half of the Colts game and then the Super Bowl,
even now under a heavier microscope. Come on, please. It doesn't matter. I get the videotaping the thing with the Jets. Yeah, maybe I have a small problem with that. I think there's a camaraderie and there's a level of respect you should have for your opponent. And I think that's a disrespectful gesture to your opponent, but I wouldn't put that on any of the players. I'd put that solely on the coach. But I'd say he probably learned a lot. And again, I don't think it changed anything because now, of course, after that, everything's a little heavier. Is guarded heavier now. And Bill Belichick, from the hood, I guess is what he's called. He's a brilliant coach. He knows how to coach the game. After what Malcolm Butler said after last year's Super Bowl, that's all the validation I needed to know. That was a brilliant coach. When they practiced that play that it was the ultimate interception that won the game for them. He said they actually went over that play in practice, and then the fact that the coach left him in there, even though he was wondering why am I on the field, But he was on there, and Belichick told him, we went over this play in practice. I went over it with you. I told you how to walk into that play. I told you how to set your feet. Told you how to approach the ball. That's why he left him in that game. That's a brilliant coach, and a coach that trusts his players, of course he's going to win Super Bowls, 4 of them. That's what you do.
It kind of makes the, what Eli did those 2 times in the Super Bowls even greater.
I think so, and I think a lot goes to your coach. I don't know how New York media represents Tom Coughlin.
New York media and fans are idiots.
They wanted him out of there, and then he won 2 Super Bowls, and he's still there, but he deserves to be there. He's a great coach for the Giants. He has been.
He's a great man.
Yeah, and he deserves a lot more credit, too. So does our coach in Pittsburgh. Actually, this is what I wanted to ask you.
Oh, yeah. Quickly.
Before we went
Tomlin. Okay, go ahead. Is that the question you want to ask me?
It was part about Tomlin, because Tomlin is not liked here in Pittsburgh by a lot of people.
Wait, let me ask you a question before you go further on that. Has that been the case for a very long time? Or
yes.
Has it been a recent...
No, it's been the case since day one, and you and I know why he has been hated here.
I gotta say it.
We don't have to talk about it. If it's I'm implying it for a reason, because it's true. That's exactly what I hear come out of people's mouths here. But one of the downfalls to his coaching is that no matter what, he's walking in the shadows of Bill Cowher, who I may remind anyone listening, especially if you are a Pittsburgh sports fan, that he took us to 5 championship games, and we only won. We lost 5 in a row. We won the last one he coached. We won in '95. Yeah, we won 2.
Right.
Just so everyone can remember that as a coach in the playoffs, he choked like a champion.
You're not a Cowher guy, are you?
I respect his legacy here as a regular season coach. Yes.
I mean, the thing is, though, with Steelers fans, though, here's the issue here.
They loved him here.
Well, right. Here's the problem. You've only had 3 coaches ever.
Well, since the Rooneys, yeah.
I mean, You had, and
we had three coaches since like 1960, maybe even longer. No, I don't know, because Chuck Noll took over. You know what? That's a good thing to find out when he took over. But it's been three coaches since at least 1960. I'm going to say 65. I'm guessing. If anyone wants to correct me,
I'm checking right now.
Yeah, but but here's my question to you, because I feel it's an extremely specious argument.
Okay.
But since everyone here says Tomlin isn't a great coach, he's just lucky that he took over Cowher's team, that he took over all these guys Cowher brought up.
Cowher's team went 8-8 before he left.
6-10.
Oh yes, right, even worse.
Yeah. Do you find that that's a viable argument in sports? Because I feel it's a specious argument. I feel that it holds no weight, that a coach walking into a situation of having the benefit of a winning team is always going to be a winner, no matter how good of a coach or how bad of a coach he is. And the only example that because people here say, well, look at Jimmy Johnson and Barry Switzer. Jimmy Johnson leaves, Barry Switzer takes over, they win the Super Bowl. But that was his great team that he had. He walked right into that situation.
That's true.
And I said, I don't know. I still think Barry Switzer had to be a good coach. And I think Tomlin is a better coach. And just so you can note this, since Tomlin has been our coach, we've never had a losing season. Period.
That's true.
The worst we did was 2 seasons ago. We went 8-8, and we still did. And if it wasn't for that KC San Diego game, we would have made the playoffs.
And not to mention too, also you can argue in a better AFC. I'll tell you right now, between Cowher's 15 years reign as a coach with Pittsburgh, and then Tomlin's last 8-9 years now has been a coach, I will argue the AFC's been better.
Yeah,
under Tomlin's reign than the other way around, than the Cowher's. Like the AFC was stacked. You're
right. That's a great argument.
I mean, look this way. Look at this way. The AFC. Okay, between Cowher's tenure in '91, who were the teams you were really battling? Buffalo at the time. Buffalo was the top. Was obviously going to the 4 Super Bowls. You had Denver 98-99.
Later, yeah, and we lost the championship game to them. And then New England.
They were, and then early New England. The early Brady.
We lost 2 to them.
Okay.
Under.
Right.
Power. And we lost to the worst AFC championship team ever. The 1994 San Diego Chargers.
Stan Humphries.
Who the fuck? What business did they have being in a Super Bowl? I'm sorry if you're a Chargers fan, with all due respect. I respect all fan bases. I respect that, but come on.
Well, first off,
we went like 12-4 that season, and we lose to whatever.
Well, here's a major mess up here. The preseason favorite that year going to that season wasn't even Pittsburgh or San Diego. It was the Dolphins.
Oh yeah, I remember.
That was the year. Marino coming off his Achilles injury. The Dolphins that year. The Dolphins stacked that year. That was the year they got Keith Byers, Keith Jackson. Irving Fryer was on the roster. The Dolphins actually stacked that year. That was an all-in year. Yeah, we're gonna do this because the Bills were getting older at that point. You remember the Bills were getting older.
Yeah, and that was the change in the guard. That was after the Bills had done that impressive thing. Yeah, come on, so, the 4 in a row. That was right. Yeah, and then Junior Seau, first of all, should have been called for pass interference in the end zone.
Correct.
We should have had one more play at the 1. And maybe that would have been it, but whatever. That's besides the point. That was Bill Cowher, though. He overcoached himself. He tried to outdo himself. He thought he was so brilliant that he would outsmart the guys.
My point about the AFC, though, there's maybe 3 teams in the 15 years that Cowher, 3 major teams that in the conference that he probably faced that were good that era. I mean, you had maybe 1 year Baltimore, with the 2000 Baltimore team. But other than that, you had the Bills in the early 90s. You had Denver 98-99, and then you had early Brady. Okay? Tomlin had to deal with Peyton Manning, had to deal with the Baltimore Ravens being really good, had to deal with the Bengals now who are really, really good. Brady, still Brady.
Peyton Manning, yeah, we beat
now Peyton Manning in Denver.
Yeah, the only one that we haven't beaten, was we lost that one big playoff game to Tim Tebow.
That's a problem there, man.
I really, really want to see the Patriots in the playoffs, like the real Patriots in the playoffs. I want to play them. We've already proven that we could beat the awesome Ravens. We beat them 3 times in the regular season twice. Okay,
but they're not good anymore. They're rebuilding.
No, but when they were right there peaking, yeah, we crushed them.
Oh yeah,
and that's Tomlin to me. That's the way Tomlin plays football. I know that we lost that game, the one pass to Tim Tebow, but okay, we get it. You're going to get beat sometimes.
Yeah, and not only that, they beat really good Baltimore Ray Lewis in his peak.
Yeah, I guess we almost lost that game to the Colts under Cowher. The year that we won the Super Bowl. We almost lost that game to the Colts. I mean, that was I don't know if that was a hand, that luck play that, Bettis fumbling that ball there, like, eesh. But anyway, what do you think? What do you think about that? You think that argument holds any weight? I don't think it holds weight. I think a great coach is a great coach, a bad coach is a bad coach. If that's the case, then how come the Lakers haven't won anything since Phil Jackson left? The year Sean Payton was suspended by the Saints, they had like 4 or 5 wins. I still think good coaching is good coaching. And it doesn't matter who you inherit or what you inherit. You still have to coach.
I think it is an overrated narrative. I will agree with that. I mean, you have, remember the Bill Walsh, the George Seifert thing, where even when he got retired, Seifert still won 2 Super Bowls after that. Obviously, you mentioned the Jimmy Johnson, Barry Switzer thing. What's another example we have out there in the NFL? Maybe
the Gruden.
Dungy Gruden thing.
Okay, Dungy couldn't win with Tampa, and then Gruden takes over that team and he made him a winner. And then of course you're going to say, but he coached against his old team in Oakland. But that was,
So what you're saying is that you think that people saying that Tomlin took over a team that was Cowher's team.
That's why he gets a lot of flack here. Since he took over Cowher's team. I'm like, okay, that's been too long ago.
Well, first off,
and the personnel decisions, but Ken Wizen can't.
This is where Steelers fans sound stupid now, because look at Big Ben in the Super Bowl he won with Cowher and the Super Bowl he won with Tomlin.
Different
quarterbacks.
Absolutely different.
2 different teams also. The philosophies are totally different.
Yeah, and we went to 2 Super Bowls with
Tomlin.
So Tomlin's lost the Super Bowl, but I mean, the way that he had that team fight right back into that game, Green Bay was not going to run away with that Super Bowl. We made sure of that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not here. I'm not going to sit here and say the argument. I'm not going to sit here and say that Tomlin's better than Cowher. I'm not going to sit here and say that right now, because I think let it play out. There's still a sample size to be used here.
And I respect a lot of what Cowher did for the city, and he did exactly what he needed to do. But I don't remember fans saying, "Well, he just took over Chuck Noll's team." So no, they loved Cowher right away. Local guy. He had the white attitude. I mean, I'm sorry, did I say that out loud? The right attitude.
Yeah, the white attitude. You can say it.
Yeah, but that's, but Tomlin got here, and a lot of people, there's people I talk to, yeah, it's disgusting. But no, I think Tomlin's a great coach. He deserves a lot more respect. They're trying to have that argument here with the Pittsburgh Penguins, because we had a winning history with this guy, Dan Blyesma. They fire him, and they said the fact that he didn't get a job last season was all the proof that he was a terrible coach, even though he won while he was the Penguins coach, and we won a Stanley Cup. We went to 2 straight Stanley Cup finals. Right. We won one of them. And he really built up this Penguins franchise again. And now he's in Buffalo, because they said, well, because he didn't coach last year, the fans here said, see, we told you he was a bad coach. Now everyone is ripping this coach that we have now, because we had this amazing start last season, and it came down to the last day. We went in as an 8 seed against the Rangers, when we should have been a 2 or 3 seed. The way that we started the season, our coach that we have now just didn't do it for the Penguins. Now Dan Blyesma's in Buffalo. Now let's see what he does in Buffalo. I think he's going to have a winning culture there too, and then Pittsburgh fans can sit down and eat it.
Boy, to answer your question about the Steelers coaches, they've actually had 16 coaches.
Yeah, okay, but
the last 3 have been between 19. I'm trying to get the year here real quick on Chuck Noll. Do you remember the year Chuck Noll took over?
I'm thinking 65.
Yeah, that's impressive though. 3 coaches in 50 years is pretty sick.
Yeah, that's it is. That's the Roonies are like that though. They let it. They get their guy and they believe in him, and they let him sit around. And I like the Rooneys for that reason.
Yeah.
But I think the Rooneys are a big reason why the team is the way that it is as well. But they give Tomlin a lot of decisions on personnel and drafting, and we draft really well.
Yes, 69 to go over. So 22 years.
69.
Yeah. 22
Oh,
years.
well, that's 46 years.
No. That's 22 years. Well, I mean,
that he coached,
Yeah, he coached, right.
But that's for 46 years we've had 3 coaches.
46 years, 3 coaches. That's impressive. Meanwhile, the Cleveland Browns have had 3 coaches in like 3-4 years.
Oh, there's so many nightmare scenarios for the Dolphins. Yeah, the Giants have had some stability there too. You're lucky there. Yeah, I don't get how
we've had 2 since Parcells. Well, Parcells, I count Parcells as the first. So Parcells, Hanley was 2 years. He was terrible. Dan Reeves for 3 or 4 years. Then Jim Fossil for I think 7.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
And then Coughlin. So the Giants have had 5 in 25 years. That's not bad.
Fossil had an NFC Championship team.
Correct. And then 2000 Giants team went to the Super Bowl and then lost to Baltimore. And I cried after that game.
I like that team though. I was very happy.
I wish he didn't play Baltimore though. Baltimore suffocated us, man. I wish he didn't. That was the one Super Bowl I cried.
Is that the one that they, the NFC Championship
fucking
game against,
Gopher, man.
I know. Against the Minnesota Vikings. They had 41-0, right?
Yeah, that was the game. And Minnesota was favoring that game by, I think, 3 points or 4 points.
Crushed them. That was a good Vikings team, though, too. That was Dante
Moss. That was Randy Moss. Yeah.
Carter was there.
Yep.
That was a great team.
Yeah, we crushed them. I remember...
my favorite unis in the NFL, Vikings.
I remember my brother and my cousin, who are both, big Randy Moss fans, kept telling me that week, y'all gonna get crushed. And I remember watching that game with them. I was like, hey, you guys all right, man? Y'all watching that score? It was 14 typical. Y'all all right, man? And 21-0 next possession. Like, really? Y'all all right? And they didn't say a damn word to me just the other day.
That was, yeah.
I love being able to talk shit like that after I didn't say anything the whole entire week. And then when my team comes out and beats you 41-0, I'm able to talk shit.
That was who's your quarterback?
Kerry Collins.
Penn State. Very, very underappreciated quarterback. He had a very solid NFL career, I think.
Sean Payton for changing him around. Sean Payton gets the credit for that one.
I think so, because he was okay in Carolina too, but he had some personal issues. We forget that these guys they're human beings. They still go home and they still have to. They still have the same shit to deal with that we do. I get the professional athletes. They have a different job to do. We expect a hell of a lot more from them than we would from your average accountant. Maybe only doctors we expect the most from in society.
Yeah,
but. But credit them for, he was. I liked him as a quarterback. He would have been a great backup in Pittsburgh, though. Hell, he could have had some good starts for us too, because we needed some help there during that time. But you're lucky you had him.
Right. I want to ask one more thing before you go. One more thing I want to ask you. Have you watched any NBA basketball so far?
A little bit, yeah.
What's impressed you?
But come on. How can you not be impressed by Curry? That's amazing, isn't it,
dude? I had this conversation last night with a buddy of mine about Steph Curry and another mutual friend of ours who is a major hater now. He's a hate on LeBron. Now his new target is Steph Curry.
How do people hate these? They're fantastic.
How do you hate Steph Curry?
How do you hate athletes that do so well?
You need to kill yourself.
He's so likable, though, too.
Steph Curry's the most likable athlete I've ever seen ever play sports. Maybe Russell Wilson comes close, but Steph Curry's a family guy, man of faith, cute daughter, him and his wife were one of the cutest couples I've ever seen, how they are. How do you not like Steph Curry? And by the way, for the record, he's played 6 years in the league. He's already the greatest shooter I've ever seen. He's the greatest shooter I've ever seen. There's no argument about that anymore. About greatest shooter of all time, he's already passed Ray Allen and Larry Bird and all that.
That one shot that he took in round 1 of the playoffs last year against it was the New Orleans Pelicans. Yeah. That when it was they came all the way back, they were so far deep, 34 down. That corner shot, that was just one of those okay, this guy's for real. Yeah, you got 6 hands in front of you. There's 3 guys jumping up with him to try to block that shot. 3. He still arcs that thing right over. He can't even see the basket, and he still nails it. That tells you that he's just been practicing.
He's incredible. And the thing about Steph I love the most is that he has fun doing it. You can see the joy when he plays. You see the joy.
He reminds me of the old Steelers receiver, Hines Ward.
Yes.
He's still a competitor, and he knows it. He gets right into the guys' faces. He gets gritty, but he just has so much fun doing it. I like him. He reminds me of
early Magic Johnson and early LeBron James.
Yeah, you think though he has some aspects of his game that he needs to work on?
I mean, I guess maybe defensively a little bit. I guess. I mean, the amount of things to fix in your game is diminishing quickly.
And that heel though that he had, that kid, that Dellavedova last year in the playoffs, that was such a brilliant performance by him too. The way he guarded him.
Slow down, bro. This is 2 games. This is 2 games.
But still, you saw it. You saw a weakness. We finally saw Steph Curry have a weakness. It was good. Hey, what do you think about this kid in New York that everyone hated when they drafted him?
Porzingis?
What a fantastic rookie.
It's fun to watch, man. 7'3", can handle the ball better than most guards in the league.
I know he's taking good outside shots. He's got threes. He's playing in the paint. I love how he just stands there and those little dunks that he's doing right there to get those rebounds. Like boom, he's just letting those guys know he's here. What a fantastic player! I have a feeling that team's gonna blossom here soon. I mean, I think they're gonna turn something around here in New York. It'd be good to see the Knicks in the playoffs again.
That would depend if Carmelo Anthony is going to be around and to be a part of that.
He didn't like Porzingis, but now I wonder what he's thinking about it. Now I know that this guy, I get it, he's a rookie. He's not an elite player, and you want to, I don't know, maybe Carmelo just wants to be around like a Westbrook or those kind of teams, Kevin Durant type player or something, But
yeah, he's fun to watch, man. He's a lot of fun to watch, and I think. I mean, we'll see how this grows into like the dog days of the season. I mean, it's early; it's only 10 games in, but so far so good, man. Not bad.
How the Heat gonna do?
They look good so far. They're 6-3. They won without Wade last night.
They got that. They got that guy they traded from the Suns last year. They signed him too.
Gerald Green.
No, from what?
Dragic.
Dragic, yeah, Croatian.
Yeah. He's good. And that kid Winslow is really good. That kid Justin Winslow that he got, the first round draft pick, he's on that Kawhi Leonard path.
Yeah.
Humble kid, 19 years old, humble kid. He's 19. Chris Bosh says the best. He's 19 going on 25.
You like that, and you like the, we're talking about the Bucks just as a joke, because I like their uniforms, so I always check out how the teams whose uniforms I like are doing. The Bucks, I think, could be like a 5 seed, maybe.
They started slow this year. We'll see what happens.
They drafted that kid from Wisconsin, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Good player. Yeah.
Anyway, before I let you go, your book's coming out when? The book's coming out hopefully next spring, right?
Yeah, you can. We'll talk about it. I guess if you want, we can talk. I could once you read it or something. We could ask. You can because there'll be some fairly personal stories in there.
Nice.
You can't leave countries like that and not be changed.
No, we will. Yeah, and we'll do.
This is why I think maybe I wrote that article for you a few years ago about why I think sports fandom can be a bit ridiculous.
Yeah.
When you've seen some of the shit I've seen, and I think you'll maybe take a step back too.
Well, the whole
you say it's not that important.
Well, that entire conversation you just had about Pittsburgh sports, I mean, I think lines that up real nice for you.
It's so inconsequential.
It's so stupid. This is sports. Get over it.
I know. If the Pirates lose, Steelers lose a game. People here think the world's going to end if the Steelers lose like a regular season game. Like, you know what?
Agreed.
Big deal. Go home. Go to your kids. See them.
Agreed. That's right.
Whatever.
Family first. Yes. Anyway, we'll do this again soon, man. We have to do another podcast soon.
But yeah, we'll chat more about Africa and sport and music.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Eddie, thanks so much on the show, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Ernest.
Of course, man.